Hey everybody, Kustom Mike's here. We are at the Darryl Starbird famous Rod and Custom Museum in, what is the name of the town?
Afton.
Afton.
Afton, Oklahoma.
Afton, Oklahoma. And this is Donna Starbird, who you will see when you walk into this gift store that they have at the museum. And there's Darryl. Darryl's going to come with us today too.
Hello, Mike. How we doing?
We're doing fantastic. It's so
Good.
cool to have
Good
you
to
here.
see ya.
And yeah, here's a sneak peek. Sneak peek, sneak peek. Darryl's going to walk us through it. But we're here at first at their little gift shop that they have with a bunch of cool memorabilia in it, and magazine coverage. And look at this storefront of Darryl's shop, so to say.
Hello.
Well, is there a story behind the storefront, or is this the model
okay.
for your? Is this just a model for in here, or is it actually a storefront of your old shop?
It's a replica of my old shop storefront, actually, in Wichita, Kansas. That's where
I knew there was a story behind it. I
Right,
knew it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so a replica of the storefront. That's fantastic. That's how you memorialize things, you know.
All right.
But if you come in here, you get to see stuff from everybody who's who in this custom world, so to say. And you get an opportunity to buy some of the memorabilia and cool stuff that's hanging out here. They're also available online. And you said DarrylStarbird.com?
That's right.
DarrylStarbird.com, you can buy some of the cool stuff that they have in here. And find out more about when you're open and closed. But what did you say?
Every day except Sunday and Tuesday.
Every day except Sunday and Tuesday. What are the hours?
10 to 5.
10 to 5, right here.
You know, Mike, you just looked in there. Actually, over here, the orange holler is a very rare model. She even has some very rare models
Wow.
for sale.
Oh, these are all for sale too?
Yeah, they're all for
Oh, that's
sale.
fantastic. What's the story on this guy right here?
Well, he was actually a hood ornament, as you can see.
Yeah.
He was a champion hood ornament racer. He just donated it to the museum.
So a lot of things in this museum came here by donation too.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Several of the cars here are actually donated. It's a 501c3,
Okay.
so you can actually donate your car or whatever paraphernalia or things that pertain to the museum.
Yeah.
And get a tax write-off, of course.
Yes, yes. That's beautiful. Don't we just love America?
Yeah, right. Money, money, money.
Money,
Very
money, money.
important.
All right, well, why don't you take us through into the inner sanctum of the
Absolutely.
Darryl Starbird
My
Museum?
pleasure. I'm going to ride, though.
Yeah, we'll ride with you, right behind
okay,
you.
Right behind me. Okay, good. We'll even start right. Everybody seems to go to the right, but you're supposed to go to the left.
Okay, we're going to go to the left, just like Darryl Starbird wants.
See that sign up there that says exit?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Everybody goes right.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go left. And of course, first of all, we got to see the Big T.
Yes.
The Big T I did in 1961 and re-released it in 205. This has sold 500,000 model cars over the years.
No kidding.
And this is actually an exact replica of the original Big T. Now, we did give the Big T away when Monogram still owned it.
Yeah.
And it disappeared. We've never been able to find it. We put many, many notices in the different magazines, but never did come up with the actual car. So evidently it got destroyed or something after we gave it away. And that was in 1964, I think it was. But anyway, this is an exact replica of the car, and even used old parts to build it just like we did back in the old days.
Wow. Very cool. Very cool. There's so much to see here. When you come and visit, there's 10,000 other things that I'm showing you today. And you can probably spend a week in here covering all of the beautiful stuff that's here. So what do we got here?
This is actually the inductees that we put into the Hall of Fame over the years. With the original guys, the 12 of them were original, down to Connington there. And then each year we add 2 more. So 2 to 4 more, actually.
Wow.
And I think
What
we're
an
up
honor.
to 40 or 50 inductees at this point. Got to remember this museum actually started in '92, so it's been here almost 30 years or 28 years.
Yeah. I remember when you started, it was huge hoopla for me too, because
Oh, right.
that was my 3rd year in business in California.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you remember it well then.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
These are a few of the little awards I got over the years that people donated or presented to me, I should say.
Yeah,
One of my latest is that bowling pin there.
yeah, it's
House
beautiful.
of Color is put out a kit now, and I had formulated the color on top, and the kit will have that color in it called a Starbright Tangerine.
Wow,
It'll actually be in kit form available at the stores. So,
very cool.
and over here on behind you, Mike, is my original shop. You can see it there by the railroad track. That's where I started this.
Wow.
And these are different shops I had over the years.
Yeah,
My
with the
big
years. and
dream
stuff.
shop was one here on the left, 62 to 67. That's when the model cars were doing real well, and
Where was that at?
it was actually in Wichita, Kansas.
Wichita, Kansas.
And it was a dream shop, believe me. It was just everything you'd ever dream about having in a shop. So, if you're a builder like
Yes.
yourself, you know.
Sure.
And if you see, started 1955 with a 47 Cadillac, was the first car I built in the shop. Actually, I started that car before I had the shop, and it was the first car that was in a national magazine for me
Wow.
in 1956.
How cool is that?
Is that car still in existence anywhere?
It's in the, you'll see it in a minute,
Oh, okay.
in a mock shop.
Oh, okay. All right. I remember seeing that earlier.
And they're in order, you'll see 55, 56, so forth. I just picked one car each year that I did. Usually we did 2 or 3 cars in a year, but I tried to pick kind of to represent that particular year. Over on this side, of course, are the Hall of Fame members. When they are inducted into the Hall of Fame, they get a 4x8 booth or wall, and they do their own thing. This one here is Posey, of course. And you can see he's done his own thing just like everybody does. Does a fantastic job. Guys spent a lot of time building these displays, and they're donated to the museum. So
Beautiful.
the trick truck, which is one of my unusual, to say the least, I built it. It has all 4 front wheels steer, of course. The steering wheel swings to either driver, and it has pedals on either side, so if your wife gives you too much trouble, you just swing the steering wheel over and take over, you know.
But she can take care.
Vice versa.
Yeah.
And one of my weaker moments was Cecil the Diesel. This was an answer to Ed Roth, of course.
Well, you had to one-up each other a little bit, huh?
Right. And of course, went right by Jerry Titus there. Jerry and Eldon, KKOA, Kustom Kemps of America. You might notice Eldon was quite an artist too. That's Elvis up there.
Very cool.
Sculpturing. And he did a lot of that as well as build cars. So.
He always built some really wild stuff.
Yeah, he has. And you can see on the wall there's a Futurista. This little kid here sold over 250,000 model cars.
Wow.
Monogram had me do this for the Tournament of Fame award there, and it was given at the Grand National in Oakland, California. So it's a 3-wheeled creation, all handmade out of metal, and rear engine. Just my answer to Car of Tomorrow. So back in 1963, of course. And each one of the guys did their own thing, as you can see over here on the other side.
Yep.
And they put their own thing together. This is my son's car, my younger boy. He just died last year from a brain tumor
I'm sorry, Darryl.
at 50 years old. So, but he was a builder, a painter. He painted quite a few of the cars in here, actually.
Yeah, this thing's really different. A different take,
Yeah,
you know. You clearly got some of your vision.
yeah.
Just-
And then a PT Cruiser, of course. This is my older boy's car. He drove this quite a while, but we actually had to talk him into putting it in here. And I'll just come on in here and show you a little bit of this room.
Beautiful.
It's kind of a maze here. You just kind of
It
go
sure
around
is.
and around, you know.
It's a wonderful little maze.
A quick look here in the back of this van. You know, back in the van days, I had to come up with the ultimate van there. You can kind of see the modern touches.
Yeah.
And
Like
there
that.
in the middle, you'll see that's a video set. I mean, a stereo system back in them days.
Yeah.
There's a bed right forward of it. Underneath it's the engine, actually, mid-engine. So
Wow.
it's a real different treatment. And you'll see it when we get around there a little bit clearer.
Okay.
A pacer, no less. Who would ever build a pacer? I like the wide bodies. The reason I chose pacer, because it has a Chevrolet engine, Jag rear end, and so forth. So not much left pacer, actually, except the wide body, and it's fully customized.
Just
and
the
bubble
baseline.
top, of course. Over here, Jesse James called me up one day and said, Darryl, I want you to come do my show with it. And this is what we built on the show, 5 days to build it.
I remember that was a crazy episode, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy. And on the wall here, we have what we call the Wall of Fame. The Wall of Fame is for anybody that wants to put their car or their custom or rod on the wall. We do require, you know, that has to be an altered machine, of course.
Yes.
And they make a donation to the museum and end up
On the Wall of Fame.
on the Hall of Fame.
That's
And,
fantastic.
you know, the reason I started this, I was so amazed that so many guys told me about their car and say, show me a picture. I never did take a picture. It's crazy.
Well, they were out driving it.
People just don't take pictures quite often,
Yeah.
even back in the good days, so to speak. They also said, Darryl, you can't customize a late model car.
Yeah, I
So
remember this car.
First thing I did was I took a brand new Mark 8 and customized it just to show you can do late model cars.
You can do whatever you want if you set your mind
That's
to it,
right.
huh?
You just got to have the guts to cut into them to start with, I guess.
I think that's the big thing that scares most people, you know.
Right.
I tell everybody, you know, I have a saw and I will travel.
Yeah, right. There you go. I'll tell you a quick story about the marble machine here.
Okay, go
This
ahead.
is a Pantera, 1972. This was a brand new Pantera, and I customized it, widened the body, did every body change on it, period, widened the fenders, everything. And when I got it done, we were in Columbus, Ohio at a car show, and a guy come up to my driver. I wasn't even there, matter of fact. Come up to my driver and said, I want to buy that car. And he said, well, it's not for sale. It's a feature car, and we'll haul it in to around the country at car shows. Well, that was on a Friday. He called me. Next day, he calls back, and he says, this guy's crazy. He just drives me crazy. He says, everything's for sale. Give me a price. Well, you want to remember, this car sold for $6,000 brand new.
Yeah.
I said, tell the guy $25,000. That'll scare him to death, and won't bother you no more. He calls back about an hour later and says, where do I send the money? I
Wow.
lost my car in 1972. My wife bought it back for me on my 50th anniversary.
Oh, what a wife.
Yeah, what a wife.
What a wife.
She hasn't told me what she paid for it, though.
Well, you know, you don't want to know that,
We
huh?
don't want to know. And of course, this is the Predictor. This is what started the whole bubble top craze.
Yeah, right here.
This is the car, the actual car. This sold 500,000 model card kits and monogram put together type things. And I named it the Predictor after that TV set back there.
Uh-huh,
That
yep.
was a Predictor TV set. And my father-in-law, Donna's father, bought that set. And before I ever bought this or built this, and I said, when I saw that name, I said, my futuristic car is going to be the Predictor.
There you go.
And there it is. Dual control that drives from either position. It guides with that stick in the middle. I actually ran this down the American drag strip in Kansas City at the Nationals there in 1960 and turned 110 mile an hour with a stick steering.
Wow.
But let me tell you the rest of the story. Don Gartless happened to be in the pits right beside me. And he come over and he looked at the car and he says, Darryl, what are you going to do with that thing? And I said, I'm going to run it down the strip. And he says, but you don't have a steering wheel. How are you going to guide it? And I said, Don, it guides that stick right in the middle. He said, oh, now, come on, you never keep it straight, can you? I said, well, you'll see. So anyway, I run it down the strip. I turned 100 and clocked 110. It's got a Hemi in it, Chrysler. And when I come back, I ran down the strip and it went straight as an arrow. I come back up the return lane in front of all the bleachers, and I said, nothing going straight, I'll show them how it turns. So I pulled the stick back and forth, went down through the return lane. In them days, bleachers were high and a lot of people in them, you know. And anyway, I pull in the pits and Don comes over there and he says, Darryl, I told you couldn't keep that damn thing straight. You can't win.
Yeah. He was right, huh?
On a return lane, right. And I built this brand new for a guy when it was a brand new Corvette.
Wild one.
16 years old. Brought that to me right as he got it.
Really?
He drove it for a while. Actually made a model of it too, but Barris did it in his name. So I actually sold it to George Barris, the guy I built it for. And the van is a straight nose van, just like that to start with. I give it the long look. And reason I wanted to drive, and when you're sitting in this thing driving it, you don't realize the van's back there because you feel like you're driving a car. So
That's cool.
that was the idea of it anyway.
The starship too, huh?
Everything's got a story.
Everything's got a story, yeah.
We could be here forever.
That is true. That is true. Well, but that's the whole thing. We want them to come here, right?
Right.
And visit and spend hours here hearing your stories too.
Yeah, exactly. And as you can see, about every famous name has been inducted in the Hall of Fame. There's Gene Winfield of
Yeah.
Coddington. All big names in our business.
They're all big influencers.
In 1955, I sectioned the first merc I ever sectioned, and it was in the magazines in them days. But this is the second one, and this one's sitting on a Chrysler platform, and Chrysler engine and everything.
Wow.
And it's chopped and sectioned, kind of a contemporary look to
Yeah.
the very.
Got to
Probably
check.
the most famous custom there is mercs. I
Yep.
mean, you know, everybody thinks of custom merc as the car to.
I made a mini
And
one.
there's the man right there. And so.
Yeah, I was actually helping Keith Bell with Rebel 51 that Rod Powell built.
Uh-huh.
I was helping getting them ready for the 85th or 1985. I think it was 85 for the Grand National Roadster Show.
Oh,
I was helping in getting it ready and putting the display together.
right.
And actually, my ex-wife, when we were driving home late one night, she saw a little Volvo sitting in the back of a car dealer's lot with flat tires. She's going, you know, that looks just like Keith's Mercury, but smaller. And I go, So 2 days later, I bought it,
I'll be darned.
got it drivable, chopped it, did the quarters, the skirts, shaved a bunch of things, put it in black primer, and we drove it to Paso Robles.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll be darned. That story, 1980, huh?
No, 1985, I think it was.
85.
And then we did the Grand National Roadster Show painted in '89.
Uh-huh.
There was like 3 versions of it during the '85 to '89. Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, mercs are popular. There's no doubt about it. You know.
I owned a roadster show, you know, for
Yeah.
18 years. So
18 years, huh?
that was in your period too.
Yeah.
1980. I had it from 70 to, or 80 to 92.
How
I
cool.
owned it.
Yeah.
This
Alexander Brothers.
Hey, brothers.
Yep. I actually got to meet Mike when I was at Metal Crafters.
Right. He was a heck of a couple, actually. Mike was outspoken one, of course, but
Yeah.
they both did a lot of the work. So
They had a unique style for sure.
They did. And you know what's really neat about this? When this place was just an empty building and I had the idea of putting in a Hall of Fame,
Uh-huh.
I called Mike and told him I was doing that and I wanted him to do a wall, be one of our inductees. He come and put this thing together before I ever had anything in this building,
No kidding.
just because he thought it would be successful. I mean,
Yeah.
He had that much faith in it,
He believed in you.
probably more than I did.
Yeah? Oh, that's fantastic.
No, that was,
What a story.
yeah. Like I say, I'm full of them. A Jaguar V12 even.
Jaguar V12, huh?
This is when the Clenays and all them came out and they had that fiberglass posted all over them.
Yeah.
This is all metal car, so
All metal cars, huh?
believe it or not, that car has 250 or 1,550 miles actual miles on it. Actual miles.
When it was time to cut into it, huh?
Yep. I'll tell you the rest of the story, but we're running out of time.
Well, that's what they need to come here for. Oh, look at this. Oh, my lordy lord. This is like the hidden cabin. This is a Tim Strange build here, right?
The car over in the shop usually goes right here where these stairs are,
Okay.
or these chairs. The bubble top T sitting over there, you just saw a minute ago. Usually sits right here,
Yeah.
so I just took it out to take to the show. This is one of my favorite machines I ever did. It's sitting on a town car, 41 Lincoln Continental. As if they aren't rare enough by themselves, I had to do everything to it. Widen the fenders. Every panel on this car has been worked and shortened to fit the wheelbase of the town car. I actually added 5 inches down the center of this whole car. Wow. If you ever try to do a hood 6 foot long seam,
That's a
Don't-
lot of hammering and dollying, huh?
don't try it.
Yeah.
I had to do a lot of, and I didn't use no lead or filler, so that's a job.
Oh, this is a cool little place. Yeah. All these bubble tops.
Yeah.
You're the bubble top master, aren't you?
Well, that's what they tell me. These are all cars I had made in the models,
Wow.
and about 10 million model cars sitting there that sold. I mean, monogram. Wow. And Mattel, of course, bought monogram later.
Yeah.
But you can see this little coffin there sold 9 million Hot Wheels. Wow. From Mattel, 9 million of them.
9 million
The
of them.
highest selling Hot Wheels there ever was. You can see the futuristic there.
Yeah.
Little 3-wheeler that I did for monogram. In fact, 6 or 7 of these were built for monogram. So.
That is very cool.
I got a question for you.
Sure.
Take a quick look at this picture right here. Tell me what's wrong with it. Can you do that, Mike?
What's wrong with it?
Of course, you realize they're all famous people.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I know. But you got Balon. I don't know who that is. And that's Kosmowski and Winfield. I don't know who that is either.
Well, believe it or not, those are heads only.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, because the second we saw there is, well, Winfield, and then, what's his name? The eye guy.
Kenneth Howard?
Who?
Kenneth Howard?
Kenneth Howard. No. Did the magic eye on all his stuff.
Huh.
Well, anyway, that's George Sam Barris.
Oh, Sam Barris.
That's Balon. That's me in the middle.
Yeah. Oh, I recognize
And
you.
John. And that guy is, he never looked like that ever for a lot of years. You know, Von Dutch. Von
Dutch. Yeah,
Von
yeah,
Dutch.
yeah. There we go.
Yeah, Von Dutch. This is my son's car. He drove it to school and everywhere else. He got keyed, so I talked him into putting it in here
Ah,
rather than repainting it.
what is it, a third gen Camaro?
Pardon?
Is it a third generation Camaro? Yeah, 82. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's 80. Yeah. And this one right here was my younger boy's driver before he died. A Riata, which you don't see many of those.
Yeah. All right. Tell the story on this one, will you?
This one here, this was actually my shop truck in 1960. It's a 59 El Camino, a 409 with a 4-speed in it at the time. And of course it's been restored, but I did the custom work on it back in them days. It used to haul engines and pull trailers, and got the quarter panels damaged several times with trailers.
Jackknifing it a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, it happens sometimes when you use the stuff, you know?
But it's, of course, all my cars are metal cars, so they stay together good.
Yeah. They just bend a little bit and you bang it back out. And
I got a quick side story.
yep.
Carrie Underwood,
Yes.
she started with me
Oh, no kidding.
at my car shows before she
Wow.
was ever famous.
Wow. That's fantastic.
She toured 15 cities with me.
Wow.
Tom Jones there.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just an interesting little side.
Stuff you don't know about unless you ask Darryl himself, huh?
Right. There's my two boys, Cliff and Rick. Cliff, of course, was known for monster trucks.
Yeah.
Frankenstein, the second monster truck I ever built. He raced them for about 20 years. Then they brought them down here, and they've been here ever since. So the monster truck world changed a bunch, to say the least.
Yeah.
These are all obsolete, old style monster trucks. One more room.
One more room. I can't wait. Thank you so much, Darryl, for taking the time. It is such a pure privilege to walk in here.
One nice thing about it, you can edit it.
No editing. We're doing this live.
Oh. Whoop.
But that's all right.
I didn't make that one.
Yeah.
These are also inductees into the Hall of Fame. We had to come in here with the newer ones. Here's our latest one, Dan Woods. You remember Dan?
Yes.
He did all them little rods back in there.
All these famous people.
Of course, he used to have a beard and long hair, but
That tends to disappear after time, huh?
yeah. There's Sam.
Yeah.
I guess that's Sam.
Yep. Legendary.
This is Eldon Titus. He
Yep.
did the Voodoo Spider and a lot of really nice cars. But he died at a very young age of cancer.
Yeah.
Dave Poole worked for me a while, and then went back, actually had a shop called Trend Custom in Chicago.
Uh-huh.
Then he come down there and went to work for me several years from Chicago, and then he went back to Chicago and started his shop up, and this is the first thing he did when he went back to Chicago.
Wow.
Spencer Murray was the editor of Rod and Custom, and they did a step-by-step build on this car in Rod and Custom magazine in the 80s, I think it was.
Wow.
Might have been in the 70s, I don't remember
Seems
exactly.
crazy.
This little car actually rode and drove, too. In fact, you know, that was something that I always made certain that the cars worked.
Yeah, if you can't drive them, it's
If they don't work, I don't think it, you know, that was an argument I always had with Big Daddy, Ed Rolfe.
yeah.
His never ran or worked. I used to tell him they're not really cars.
They're
He- he-
sculptors at that point, you
He
know.
didn't like that much,
Yeah.
but he told me he wasn't no car builder. He was an artist. So
Yeah. Wow, there's just so much to see in here. There's art too. Troy Trepanier right up here. Larry Littlebeck, Dean Jeffries. Oh, they're all here.
there's probably one of the best done Bill Cushenberry's El Matador.
Yeah. Did you see the auction results?
Did I say it? What?
Did you see the auction results last week? It tapped out at $60,000.
This one did?
Yeah.
You sure it wasn't a clone?
I thought it was the original, but I might be wrong.
Well,
Yeah.
it wasn't the one because the guy just bought this from Murr that restored it,
Yeah.
the original one I'm talking about, and the guy paid 400 grand for it and turned around and completely rebuilt the car from ground up, perfect.
Wow.
After he paid 400 grand for it, so.
That's a story right there for
Yeah.
you, huh?
And I haven't seen the car yet, so, but I hear it's unbelievable. But he don't even take it and show it.
He's just enjoying it himself, huh?
It's just his own car, and he has a rec room it's in just for his car. Now I'm gonna have a little trouble making this corner, so you have to
Wow.
bear with me.
Yeah, no worries. This is a special aisle right here, you know?
Yeah. Oop, I ain't gonna make it though, not like that. I'm gonna have to back up and start over.
It's all right. Take your time. We got plenty to look at, you know.
I didn't start turning fast enough. You gotta hit this just perfect.
Oops.
I didn't make it.
A little bit more to the right.
Oh, good, thank you.
Ah, sneaky.
That was easy.
I don't know how you made it through there. You know.
I do, but I have to work at it.
Yeah, it's all good.
Oop, looks like I got a flat tire on that one. This is one of my cars right here.
Uh-huh.
These are Little Bill Hines,
Yep.
these two. And this is one of my later ones. This is what I call a California roadster because it don't have windows.
Yeah.
Bubble top.
That is one big bubble top.
Yeah. I just built that 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, this thing's crazy.
And here's a clone, not really a clone, but called a Jade Idol 2. Winfield actually painted it. He didn't actually build it.
Yeah.
And it's not exactly like the Jade Idol, to say the least. We were talking about it being a 501c3. Dick Huckins just donated this Buick to the museum.
This thing is gorgeous too. What a roof
Isn't that
line.
a nice one? Dick Huckins, he's in really bad shape health-wise,
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
so he wanted to have his car in the museum so Aaron won't sell it off. So he donated it.
Just can't believe how long you have come, how far you have come since the museum started, you know?
Right.
What a collection.
This is my mock shop right behind you.
Yeah.
These are a lot of my old tools and stuff that I actually used in my early days. That's my original car, a 47 Cadillac.
47 Cadillac.
That's the first car I ever customized and had in a magazine. That's the actual car.
Wow.
I found this car in Dodge City, and it'd been sitting there for 40 years in a pasture. When I sold it to the guy in Dodge City, he went to Korea, got killed,
Oh no.
and his parents lived in Dodge City on a farm. They took his car. This car was in perfect shape out and set it in the field. It sat there for 40 years.
Wow.
They wouldn't do nothing with it.
Wow.
I finally found that it was there, or heard it was there, and I went to Dodge City. Jerry Titus, now, matter of fact, and told him who I was, and of course, he knew who I was as soon as I told him. He said, I wouldn't let nobody have this car, period, but you.
Uh-huh.
Take it. So
Wow.
I ended up with the actual car. I started to restore it, and then I got the idea of this mock shop, so.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. It's like, you know.
And if you'll notice, the fenders are lead,
Uh-huh.
everything's leaded. So even though it's set 40 years in a field, it never went away because, you know, it was all metal and lead, not plastic like they are today, or fillers, you know, and Bondo and all that stuff. Now we're at dead end. We'll keep you here forever.
I'll be happy to stay in there forever.
Now here's my actual bubble top tool I want to show you.
Yeah. Tell us all about it.
Yep. This is it right here, the tool. This is how I did it in 1959, before anybody ever heard of making a bubble top, except for, so I had to figure out some way to do it. And this is the tool I come up. This box right here is the actual tool, not the first, but is the tool I use to blow bubbles. And the reason for it is, if you'll see, it's a free blown, and the bubble itself touches nothing but the restrictor in the middle and the shape of the opening. That's what determines the shape and shape. If you put it in a mold or vacuum form it, optics go bad. You'll notice it's got perfect optics because it don't touch nothing but air, you know, when it's blowing up. This turns upside down on a big table. Run around and clamp it and put a piece of hot plastic down on the table. Turn this upside down on it and run around and clamp it real fast. And it's got air stream at the table, just a hole in the middle of the table. 100 pounds of pressure, and that thing blows up just like a balloon.
Wow. So you heat the plastic first?
Oh yeah. Lay it in there, it's just like rubber.
Yeah.
And but then the second you stop the air pressure, it sits there and don't go no more.
Yeah.
You know. It cools as it goes up, of course.
Yeah. What a cool idea, huh?
But the problem was back in 1959 when I built the first one. First of all, I couldn't find an oven big enough to put a piece of plastic like that in it. So I had to build my own oven to start with.
Yeah.
And that was my first hurdle, so to speak. I blew 3 of them, and I didn't brace any of this enough, and it blew apart on it from the pressure.
Oh no.
And but the then I had already entered the car at the Grand National in Oakland, California, of course. And Carcraft magazine already had it scheduled for a cover. And here I've got no bubble. You know.
You burst your own bubble, huh?
And 10 days, the show was 10 days long, of course, in them days.
Yeah.
And anyway, when I pulled out of Wichita without a bubble top, just the car all finished, no bubble top, I got about 200 miles from Wichita, and the guy that was helping me blow it said, I just blew a perfect bubble. I said, really? After all we went through trying to get one.
Yeah.
And so anyway, he put it on a freight. Time I got to California, 3 days, it was sitting there waiting on me, the bubble top. Believe it or not, we showed it at the Oakland Roadster show beside the car. It wasn't even mounted on the car. First bubble ever.
Yeah, yeah.
But I had to shoot it the next day after the Oakland Roadster show in LA for the magazine cover.
Yeah.
So I went to Bill Kustom's shop, which was in Monterey.
Yeah.
Which he used to work with me too. and I cut the flange off of it.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, Dick Day and I are sitting in it, and I've got my hand holding the top, and he's got his hand holding the top for the cover. You'd never know that, but that's the story. It wasn't even mounted on the car yet.
Wow.
For the cover of Carcraft magazine.
Well, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You know?
That's right.
What a story. What a story. And what a collection of cars.
Yeah, you don't see this very often.
No, you don't. There's, that's why, again, I say we trust. This is just
But-
pure privilege
But
to be here with you and to cover this for us and the Kustom Mike's audience worldwide. And we're very grateful that you're taking the time to do this with us.
well, pleasure. Now, we just made a very exciting announcement this weekend at
Okay.
the show. Speedway Motors in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Uh-huh.
They have their own museum there, of course,
Yeah.
and 3 stories tall. And we just merged with them.
Okay.
Now we have 2 locations, there and
Fantastic.
here. The Hall of Fame will be 1 year done there, and the induction part, and 1 year here. And they have half of my cars, and I have half of their cars. We trade back and forth.
Yeah.
Just
So that's the cars that are sitting in the shop right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll do a bonus coverage on that. We'll do a second video on the little shop.
But anyway, that induction we just announced at the Tulsa show. So
Yeah, and we just missed it by like 2 weeks, I think it was, right?
yeah, the one you should have been there.
Yeah, I know. We were trying, but it wasn't meant to be this time.
Oh,
So now we're here today instead. You know,
Well, at least
we get a personal tour, which I
there you go. But I'm excited about that because that means this whole thing will go on long after I'm gone,
yep.
you know. And I'm
And
hoping,
Donna seemed pretty excited about it too.
yeah. Well, it's a chance that we always wanted to make sure that it was going to be after we're gone, you know.
Yeah.
These things aren't exactly profit makers.
Well, I mean, a museum like this doesn't create itself,
Yeah.
and it takes pure passion and a lot of work to make this what you have actually made it.
Right. And I hope it can go on forever, or for many years anyway,
Yeah.
after we're gone.
You have been an inspiration to many.
I'm only 87, so
You still got another 10
sure.
years to go.
surely it got 10 more years.
That's what we're counting on, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you have a designer Hall of Fame right there too, huh? Here, let me hold this away a little bit.
Okay. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah. A little bit of maneuvering to get himself out, but he is an expert at his little machine.
I made it.
I mean, you just had surgery too, and you're up and about working. There's no stopping you today, is there? Wow. MK John, Darryl. Oh, the reactor. So much to see. So many things to. Oh, wow.
These were actually prototypes.
Actual prototypes, huh?
Yeah. The AMC was actually going to make a El Camino type thing. It wasn't going to be a 4-wheeler,
Yeah.
but it was going to be like a little El Camino.
That would have been really cool.
And this was the actual body of the prototype.
Wow.
It was donated to the museum. This one too was donated to the museum. They sold 30 of them or something
Wow.
before they went obsolete. You remember Krabowski?
Yep.
There he is right there.
Good old Norm.
Old Norm.
I think that Life magazine cover is probably one of the most famous ones, huh?
Yeah.
Some of his later.
He was
And who can forget his skulls, huh?
yeah, right. He's a character, isn't he? I like Norm. He's a big supporter of mine,
Yeah.
of the museum especially. He may not like me, I don't know.
Then you got Donna's T-bird, kind of
Yeah,
bird.
there's actually, I was a Jaguar when T-Bird announced they're bringing out the later Thunderbird. I was excited about getting one, and Donna was very excited about buying one.
Uh-huh.
So we had almost put an order in for it, and then we saw a picture of it, and I told her, I'm not sure you will like that car.
Yeah.
When you actually see it. Well, anyway, when it come out, she didn't like it very much at all. So I went and found this Jaguar. It had 24,000 miles on it, a regular roadster, and ordered the parts, first parts out of the factory, I think, that weren't put on a Ford or put on a T-Bird.
Yeah.
Put them on this car here, section it, the headlights and the grills and the taillights and all that stuff. Many people still think it's a T-Bird, but actually it's a Jaguar.
It looks really good. And it made her happy, right?
And she drove it a long time.
Yeah.
In fact, she's talking about taking it back out.
Well,
The reason it's by the door.
you can't really blame her, can you?
No. It got keyed too.
Oh, no.
On the trunk.
People are
People are so crazy.
Yeah.
You're like their Buicks.
Yep. This is a really nice 54.
This one here is a really famous Buick, built by
Mr. Wilhelm himself.
Wilhelm.
Yeah, and paint by
Wilhelm,
Rod
yeah.
Powell, my
Yeah,
friend.
Rod Powell.
And mentor. Rod was a mentor for me for many years,
I'll
and
bet, yeah.
and he changed my life in so many ways.
Yeah, he's a great guy too. I liked him.
Yeah. And it's sitting on Store Custom Avenue, huh? That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this antenna. That's a cool way of doing it too.
They just shoot out the back there.
Yeah.
Nice taillight treatment.
Yeah.
The old double Lincolns.
Make a little.
Antenna treatment.
Yeah. I love the antenna treatment. It's really
Oldsmobile
cool.
grill on the front. It's got a lot of work done on it actually.
Yeah. Ton of work. Wow. Lots of crazy stuff in here, huh?
Yeah.
That's the beauty of a museum like this. You can come in and you can spend a whole afternoon in here walking around, seeing all the cool stuff that the people in our industry have done.
That's one thing that amazes me. Some people come in here and spend, 5 or 6 hours. Another will come in here and spend 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It just blows me away how they can walk through this place 90 miles an hour and leave.
It's the consumerism of today, I guess,
I guess it's what like you're saying, what it takes, you do, I guess.
Tonka toy, huh?
Yeah. Doug Weigel, believe it or not, has about 10 of these things, all different, all the way from fire trucks to hearse, to police cars. He builds them in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Okay.
And he does it as a hobby. His business is cutting out these figures you see of horses and cattle.
Oh, okay.
The metal ones.
Yeah, for the little signage for people having
Yeah,
a barn
right.
and stuff.
Right. That's what he does for a living. He does these cars just as a hobby.
Well, you got to have something to inspire your mind, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, and Jack Walker too. I was at the.
But he likes real crazy carburation. See, some of them are taller than the
Yeah.
car. I mean,
He likes the motivation.
yeah. Here's a T-Bird bubble.
Oh yeah.
Dino did it. Dino there. And
So much to see. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Well, you inspired a whole another generation of people that went bubble top ways too, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a fair amount of them have come here and asked you for help. How do I do this? How do I do that?
Yeah, a lot of them never pay no attention, end up with no bubble.
Yeah.
One that's real wavy, they can't see all of it or whatever, you know. And then I said, well, did you do what I said? And he said, I took it to plastic shop and they said that wouldn't work, so they did it their way.
Yeah.
Now they can't see all of it.
Yeah.
You know.
Crazy, huh?
I said, well, all I can do is tell you. If you don't listen, what can I say? I mean, I even did stories in the magazines how to build them.
Yeah.
Several different times over the years. One more time.
Yeah, it's all good.
Another
Take your
one.
time, my friend. Take your time. What a walkthrough. What a walkthrough.
I made it barely. A little tight. We're
You're getting really good at that.
Yeah.
So how come this one is not customized?
Yeah, right.
If we wait long enough, it will be, huh?
It will be. Bubble top and all. No,
Yeah.
no. Well, we've been through the whole thing, it looks like.
Yeah.
Back to the beginning.
Yeah, this thing's wild.
It's a labor of love.
Yeah.
Nobody put this much work into anything, not even me. But I did somehow over the years.
So let me ask you, who inspired you? What made you start?
Well, I'll tell you what made me do a museum, period. I went to Peterson in California.
Uh-huh.
So I knew Peterson well because I used to do magazine articles for him all the time, you know, when he
Yeah.
had Hot Rod. And when I went to the museum, I was totally amazed. I went there thinking it'd be hot rods and custom cars because that's what he's famous for, and race cars, and at least automobiles, you know.
Yeah.
I get there and it turns out to be a museum of transportation, a little bit about everything but cars.
Yeah.
You know. So I said, and even they had a mock shop like I have here, and Barris even furnished the guy a lot of pieces for it, but never even put his name on the shop, period,
Wow.
you know, in the museum.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I left there and I said, you know, we guys like myself and Barris and all of us, we actually made this guy and made all of his money, and he don't recognize any of us in the museum, you know. And I said, I'm going to go home and build a museum to recognize everybody, you know, not myself particularly, just everybody, and make it something people could remember and relate to for many, many years. That's what really got me going, was that museum right there.
Yeah.
Just being disappointed, you know.
Well, sometimes, you know, that's a trigger.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at what you created. This is an amazing collection of work.
This here's got to be one of the most striking pictures you'll ever see.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I want to climb up on the second story and take a picture of it,
Yeah,
you know.
right.
But Scott is going around taking pictures too, and we'll share those too later. And we'll make sure that we tag you and everything like we always do.
Good.
We're just so extremely grateful for the opportunity to walk through with you. And I don't see Donna, so I just want to say just a heartfelt thank you from Kustom Mike's and myself and Scott and our audience for you taking the time and doing this with us. Just on a moment's notice like this.
Well, you know, it's been my pleasure, and I've enjoyed doing it, and I enjoyed talking to you guys and being a part of your whole thing. That's great.
Yep. So
Appreciate it.
thank you so much for hanging at Kustom Mike's here at Darryl Starbird's Rod and Custom Museum in the middle of the heartbeat America. You got to come and see it. DarrylStarbird.com, right?
That's right. DarrylStarbird.com.
that's the place to be to get all the information. And we'll see you.